Hey guys, I just wanted to talk real quick about the draft. It's coming up this Sunday. It's a rookie-only draft this Sunday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm not sure. You're going to have to figure out what time that is for your time zone. I'm not sure if Arizona is 3 hours behind us now or not with daylight savings time. But anyway, there's a timer right on the top of the web page. It'll tell you exactly when it is. I'm going to real quick divide this up into kind of two sections. The first section is just kind of going to be a rundown of what the draft is. This is mostly for the new guys. That should just take about 2 or 3 minutes. And then after that, I'm going to go into the kind of the specifics of the new collective bargaining agreement that will actually started in the NFL with the Cam Newton draft class, but it's actually in the AFFL, it's started with the Andrew Luck draft class. So there's going to be some decisions that you guys need to make in the next couple of years, and then going forward every year regarding to anybody on a rookie contract. So anyway, right now I will just talk about the mechanics of our draft. All right, so our draft is pretty easy. It's like I said, Sunday night, 9 o'clock Eastern Time. There's a timer on the website. It's 2 rounds, 10 minutes per selection. It's only listed rookies only. It's just a rookie draft. Only those rookies that are listed are eligible. It doesn't matter if they've been drafted or not in the NFL. It's just whatever's listed by MFL.com as a rookie. There are no compensatory picks this year, so it's just going to be a 32 player draft. Now what happens is about an hour before the draft, I will create what's called a live draft room. Technically, we can't have a draft and an auction happening at the same time. So I'll turn off our auction and then turn on our draft, and that starts a live draft room. In the live draft room, it'll be like a separate window in your browser that'll consist of a chat, like a list of all the players available, the players selected, the draft order, all that stuff. So you kind of use that as your interface to draft. And there is trading allowed during the draft, but the live chat room doesn't support trading, so you have to kind of go to your other browser and just trade through the normal trade mechanism. Now, you also, if there is a trade made during the draft, that won't be shown in the live draft room. So I highly recommend that you kind of refresh your live draft room, just close it out and start it back up every couple of draft selections so you see what the actual current selection is. Also, keep an eye on the transaction report, and you can keep updating that too as far as drafts. And then I'll try to, obviously the chat window, we usually try to update people on who drafted who. So like I said, there is also, as far as that goes, MFL.com, they're really good about adding features that players want. So please send a support ticket. You do that up through the help menu. Send a support ticket and a requested feature. Let's have them put a trade option in the live draft room so you can trade right there. The more people they get to ask for it, the more likely they're willing to do it. I've submitted that a couple of times now, and it's just me doing it. So if we get a bunch of guys doing it, maybe they can add that in future years. Anyway, the timer. Now, the timer is not always accurate. Sometimes there's lag with your window and wherever lag comes from, with your connection, whatever. It's not always accurate, but you are still responsible for putting your pick in on time. That means, basically a good rule of thumb is if you have 60 seconds left and you're still working on a trade, you're going to risk missing your pick. So if you miss your pick, you miss your pick, regardless of how much time the timer says you have. Because there's no way to verify what your timer said, because my timer might be different, just depending on lag and all that stuff. So anyway, if you're still working on a trade with 60 seconds left, you're really risking your pick. You should really get your pick in. If your timer does expire, the next owner's up and you've missed your pick. Now you can let me know through the chat window who you've picked, and I can try to change it. But if the next owner picks your pick before you put it in there, you're out of luck. So just the moral of the story, don't miss your timer, don't miss your pick. Now, if you know you're going to miss the draft, you've got something happening. I know there's already one owner who has a wedding that day. If you're going to miss it, you can either put in my draft picks or my draft list. I believe they're under the For Owners menu. If you need help distinguishing between the two, you can go to the Help Center under the Help menu. And I also put basically I copied and pasted that into the draft thread on the message board. Anyway, you can set either of those options up, make sure you know the difference between the two, and get your pick automatically made for you. Or you can always just text me. If it's your turn, just let me know. I can enter the pick for you manually, obviously, if something comes up. But the bottom line is this, is it's your draft. If you miss it, I'm not going to be the one who tells you you're up unless you specifically ask for it. I'm an owner too, so I'm really going to be concentrating on my draft and not really you missing your pick. Because honestly, if you miss your pick, I get a better player selection out of it. That's the way I look at it. Anyway, after the draft, the players will automatically put onto your taxi squads because technically you've only drafted them. You haven't signed them to a contract. So you just have the rights to them. That's why they are on your taxi squad. So new this year, all you have to do to sign them is promote them to your roster. You have up until week 10 to sign them. If you don't promote them from the taxi squad to your roster by week 10, they just become free agents. Otherwise, if you do promote them, they automatically sign a 4-year contract and at the salary that's defined by their draft position. Another thing to note is players can never hold out during their rookie contract. So even if he doesn't play this first year, you still may want to sign him because you might be able to get him for cheaper in free agency, but he can hold out under that contract. Or if he's under a rookie contract, he can't sign out. So that's kind of the advantages of having players under rookie contracts. After that's all done, the auction will be over and the draft will be over and the auction will resume, and we'll kind of up the timer so it's 5 days after. An auction will be over 5 days after the highest bidder has changed. And that will be the end of the draft. Also, during this year's draft, I'm trying to get a little more advanced with the technology. There is a video chat ability that I will be on. I will be in the video chat room. It's under communications, I believe, live video chat. I will try to get a link up for it. It'd be good to see you guys. Let's get some people on the video chat. That might be fun this year. All right, let's talk about the collective bargaining agreement and your rookies. In the NFL, this took place with the 2011 draft class, the Cam Newton class, but we're a year behind them, so it's going to be with last year, the 2012, or the Andrew Luck draft class, and every class going forward. Obviously, we already mentioned they automatically sign a 4-year contract, but our rookies, and they also get a guaranteed salary that's based on the position that they were drafted in. And even that scale has been modified this year so it more closely matches the NFL. And I'm actually pretty excited about it. I think that's pretty cool. Now, our rookie contracts have what's called guaranteed pay. It's basically the same thing as the cap hit, except for guaranteed pay. You don't have to pay it when you trade the player like you do a cap hit. In the NFL, it's called some kind of, player non-exempt clause, and most rookie contracts have this. where their guaranteed money is just passed on to the next club. So we're just going to say all that happens to every rookie contract in the AFFL. So basically, you only pay that guaranteed money if you cut the player. Again, you get to trade any player under a rookie contract for free. So if you think about it, that's going to be the potential of 32 free players entering every year with times 4, because a rookie contract is 4 years. So we're going to have a lot of players that you can trade for free. Obviously, if you cut them, you're going to have to pay what's the remainder of that guaranteed pay, but you don't have to pay that guaranteed pay if you trade a player on a rookie contract. Now again, as I mentioned, you have up until week 10 of that league year to sign the rookie. And then just by signing them, you just promote them. Now that's going to be fine, but in a few years into their rookie contract, you're going to have to make a few decisions. So you can do, in the end of the 3rd year, you can renegotiate a player's rookie contract. Now, this is going to happen again for every draft class going forward, but it won't happen for the first time until after the 2014 season, or that's Andrew Luck's and that class's 3rd year in the league. So, you can renegotiate their rookie contract after their 3rd year, and you have to decide that in that off season. The renegotiations will just follow the normal renegotiation rules, which means they'll get 70% of their last year's salary, but they have to sign a 5-year deal. And then these rookie negotiations won't count against the one renegotiation per season. So if you're like Rolling Thunder and you have 8 rookies under contract, you can renegotiate all of them. Now, the special thing to note here is that renegotiated rookies are no longer under their rookie contract. They're under big boy contracts. So that means that they can hold out. So basically, you're paying them less money, but you're taking more of a risk that they can hold out. And if they hold out, they're going to ask for a lot more money. So what can you do then to defend yourself against that kind of situation? So like I said, a player who renegotiates his rookie contract, he is now on a big boy contract. So he can hold out, and he is also not eligible for the 5th year option, which I will explain next. The 5th year option. Now, the 5th year option is only for those players that are chosen in the first round of their respective draft. Now, the club can extend that automatic 4-year contract to include a 5th year. Now, the club has to decide that during the regular season of that player's 4th year. So, what happens then is if the owner decides that, hey, I want to keep this player for a 5th year, he has to pay him a little more money. So the way that works is players chosen in the top 5 of their draft class, numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, they will have to be paid whatever the transition tag for their position is that year, that amount. And then all other players from 6 through 16 of that year's draft class will have to be paid the low tender tag at their position for that year. Then, at the end of that 5th year option, the player becomes an unrestricted free agent. Obviously, the owner who had him can still bid on him during the unrestricted free agents. So, as you see, you can have a couple of decisions to make here throughout the life of a player's rookie contract. So, at the end of a player's 3rd year in the league, again, they have to be on a rookie contract. They just can't sign like a free agent contract. This doesn't apply to undrafted rookies. So, at the end of a player's 3rd year, the owners you're gonna have to decide: do you want to renegotiate him, and then risk him holding out? Or do you want to just let him play through his 4th year and then go on to free agency? Or if you have a first rounder on your team, during that 4th year, you can decide, during the regular season of the 4th year, you can decide if you want him to play a 5th year for you. If you do decide that, the player will play the 5th year, but at a higher price. And then he will be open to free agency, in which you can get him back. In that case, he's not going to hold out during the 5th year, and he's probably never going to hold out once he reaches free agency. Because if he's worth it, he'll be paid the money on the free agent market. So, anyway, I really think those are cool things. Those are cool options. Those are just exactly what the NFL offers. Those are the exact decisions that GMs have to make. It sounds a little complicated, but again, it's kind of a risk-reward thing. Do you renegotiate his contract and risk him holding out and risk still having to pay him big-time money anyway? Or do you let the player, do you automatically sign him for a 5th year, and so you get him 5th year for a little cheaper price, but then he becomes a free agent anyway, in which case you can still sign him, but you have to deal with all the other owners offering him. Anyway, so those are your choices going forward. I, again, will be on the video chat. I look forward to seeing all you guys on Sunday, and let's have a great draft. Thanks.